Hi there, welcome to today's video. I'm Jeanette with Vivo Vintage Designs. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. On this channel, we learn alcohol ink, watercolor, and other creative art projects together. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get started. Hi there, welcome to today's video. I'm Jeanette with Vivo Vintage Designs. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. On this channel, we learn alcohol ink, watercolor, and other creative art projects together. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get started. Hi friends, and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to have a little fun with watercolor. This is something that I like to do when I don't know what to paint, but I want to paint. So for this project, I am using my Arch watercolor paper. This is 100% cotton, and this is a block. And because I'm going to be using a lot of water, that's why I decided to use a block. But if you don't have a block, you can simply tape your paper to the surface because we're going to be using a lot of water. I'm using my Kuretake paints. I have a size 8 and a size 12 silver black velvet brush. I also brought out a ruler, which I thought I was going to use, but I figured I'm just going to wing it. And you can be more detailed with this and actually take measurements, but I'm just going to eyeball it. I have a spray bottle to activate my paints, and I have some washi tape. And this is just blue painter's tape that I like to use because it's low tack and it gives me a nice wide border. And now I'm simply going to take my washi tape, if I can get it started. There we go. And I did mark what I think is the center. So I'm going to use that line as a guide. And again, I'm not looking for perfection here. I just want to get the paint on the paper. So that looks pretty centered. I'm just going to wing it. Like I said, you can measure it. You can do this any way you like. And then I'm going to break this into 6 squares. That's not very even, but that's okay. And of course, you can break this into as many squares as you like. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to do 6 squares. It looks actually very nice when you do like 9 squares or more. I've done this so many times. Okay, so to start with, I am going to use burnt sienna, maybe a little raw umber. I like the indigo, the turquoise blue, the aquamarine, and the turquoise green. You can use whatever colors you like, and I may use the cobalt violet as well. And okay, phone is on airplane mode, so we will not be interrupted again. And the first thing that I like to do is to spray my paper with a little bit of water. And of course, you don't have to have these Kuretake paints. You can use whatever watercolor paints you have. I just like the way these paints work. So that's what I'm using. And as I was saying, you can use whatever color combination you prefer. So I'm going to get my brush nice and wet. And I'm going to start with the indigo because that's my favorite. And I'm just going to roll that brush in there. And then I'm going to start simply by making a line like that. And putting the water down first makes it spread a little bit. These paints are not known for spreading. They're not designed for that. But I like to give them a little help. And I like the way that looks. I'm going to clean my brush off, and I'm going to pick up a second color. Let's go with the cobalt violet. Again, I'm rolling the brush in the paint so I pick up a nice heavy load on my brush. And then I'm going to start right next to that color and reload if I need to. I want to use a lot of saturated colors. I want this to be nice and dark. And now I'm going to pick up a little bit of the burnt sienna. Again, rolling my brush in there so I pick up a lot of paint. And let's add this one right here. Okay, let's pick up a little bit of that turquoise green. And if this doesn't make sense to you yet, it will soon. It's kind of like an abstract painting. Oh, that's indigo. That's not what I wanted. So far all we're doing is just making some lines. I'm going to spray this a little bit more because it seems like it's drying. And now I'm going to grab a little bit of that raw umber. And I want to use a little bit more of the raw sienna up here just to bring it to the top of the painting as well. I want to make sure I get my paint all the way to the edge, and hopefully it won't bleed underneath the tape. But now what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the smaller brush, and I'm going to use this white, and I'm cleaning my brush in some clean water, not that dirty water. And I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to give this one more quick spray. Well, I don't think I need to. I think it's still wet enough. But I'm going to roll the brush in the white, and now I'm going to start just dotting while everything is still wet. And what's nice about using the Kuretake paints is that because they don't spread a lot, you get a really pretty pattern. So I think I want to make like a circular pattern here. I'm going to start up here. And we're just going to fill in with some patterns. And you can see how this one did spread, and I love the way that looks. So I'm going to try that again over here. And I think I may just stick to that, adding these little patterns here and there. And where the paper is more wet, it'll spread like that. If you need to, don't be afraid to give your paper a little squirt of water, just to keep it nice and wet so that this white spreads nicely. You may have some areas where you have puddles like I do there, but that's okay. And I'm going to continue to fill this in with these little dots. And then we're going to let this completely dry. I have a lot of water over here, so I'm going to use my brush to pick that up because I get the feeling that's going to go under my tape. So just use a clean, damp brush and lift some of that moisture off the paper. If you have that issue, it's not a big deal, except that it can run underneath the tape. And the white will absorb some of the color that you have underneath it. So that always makes it interesting too, because you get a nice variation of colors. I'm not crazy about that circle that I did there, so it kind of disappeared a little bit. I'm glad for that. So I'm just basically following the lines that the paint gave me and adding these dots. Okay, now I want to wait for this to dry completely. You can dry it if you like using a blow dryer, which is what I'm going to do off camera. So let me do that and then we'll come right back. Okay, I have no idea what to expect because I can see that my tape lifted in some areas. And actually, that's much better than I expected. Much better than I expected. So of course I will have some areas that I had a lot of water on there, so I did expect that the paint was going to bleed under the tape, but no worries. If you're familiar with my videos, I usually have a solution that usually works for every problem. So don't worry about these little marks. We're going to make that work for us. Okay, so that's what you're left with. And I really like that all on its own. But you can, let me see if I have a little piece here. I do not, but you can use a magic erase sponge to clean that up, these little marks, or if you have some bleed proof white, you can use that. I recommend using a clean brush. I'm not going to use the brushes that I used there because they may still have a little bit of the paint on them. So I'm going to use another brush and I'm going to pick up some of this bleed proof white and I'm just going to cover up these marks. I may have to go over them a couple of times, but that's okay. You can also create borders for these little squares and cover that up. If you have this problem, I used a lot of water, so you may not have this issue. So anywhere you think you need to touch up, go ahead and do that with your bleed proof white. And you may have to go over it a second time. But all in all, I don't think that's so bad. I'll have to, once that dries, I'll go over it a second time. So in the meantime, I'm just going to put this brush aside, cover up my bleed proof white. This paint is a lifesaver. It shows up so beautifully on watercolor. It's an absolute must-have for me. All right, so now I'm going to grab some, maybe a white gel pen. I have silver and gold chrome pens, and let's see what else I can grab, because now we're going to add some detail to this. So let me grab my, all right, I have my chrome markers. I don't think I need any more paint, so I'm going to push that to the side and let it dry before I put it away. I've got my chrome markers. I've got a white gel pen. Do I have a black gel pen? I do. I have a black gel pen as well. What else can I use? Well, you know what? Let's just start with this. And I want to make sure that, let me cover this up, make sure that it's as covered up as I can. And you know, I really didn't even have to do this because what I'm going to do next would probably have covered up all those marks. But if you don't want to do what I'm going to do next, and you just want the squares like that, that looks really pretty in a frame all on its own. But you know, I can't just leave well enough alone. So I'm going to make sure that the bleed proof white is completely dry. And while that continues to dry, I'm going to grab some round objects. And I'm going to trace some circles in here using a pencil. just to use it as a guide. Again, you don't have to do this. Let me grab some other round objects. Let's see. I've got a lid. I've got another lid. Lots of lids. And one more. That ought to do it. And if you don't want to trace it onto your paper, you don't have to do that. I'll show you what I'm going to do. All right, so the first thing is I want some silver in here. I love these chrome markers. They're so reflective. I love them. So this one has a broad nib. And I'm going to start just, let me pump this a little bit. I have some craft paper here, so this will be fine. And I'm going to start making dots along that pencil line. It's hard to see it on the where I've painted, so I'm going to start where I do see the line. And look how pretty that shows up over that paint. I love this. And let's see, let's do maybe something in white. So you can just put the lid down. And obviously the white is not going to show on the white paper. So we're just going to do that, and then I want to move it a little bit. I'm going to trace it again, move it a little bit more. And now I've got that. So I'm going to add some little dots to this here and there. Some of my lines show up better than others. There's no right or wrong way, so don't worry if yours didn't show up. Okay, what's next? I have some gold pens also. So I'm going to put this down, and I'm just going to add some gold dots. Following that shape, and these are tiny. That's good. Yeah, this one might be close to empty. I use these a lot. Now let's use the black gel pen. Now let's just drop it and see where it lands. There we go. So for this one, I'm going to trace it. And then I think I'm just going to go around, trying to follow that shape. I'm going to go around a couple of times. And I like that it doesn't show up evenly everywhere. And I'm going to do the same thing, add some black dots. You can create whatever patterns you like. I just happen to like circles. That's the mood of the day. All right, now let's do something here. I like the white, so I'm going to use the white to create more circles. And this time I'm just going to freehand it, and I'm going to overlap. Oh, I like that a lot. Now for this one, instead of doing little circles, I'm going to do little lines. So you can see there's no right or wrong way to do this. Whatever you want to add to this is going to look beautiful and interesting. So I normally don't do real-time videos because some of my videos can be a little long. So I speed them up, but this one I'm going to keep in real time so you can see just how long it takes and what the process is. Let me know in the comments if this is what you prefer. My videos are usually anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes tops, and that's intentional because I don't want to lose your attention. So if you enjoy these more real-time videos, let me know. I would appreciate some feedback. Okay, let's use some more gold, and I think in this area, let's see. And I'm going to stop making circles. I think now I'm just going to follow the patterns that the paint gave me. And I'm going to do this one using little lines. And I'm going to follow it right down through this other square. And I think I need some gold up here too. So for this one, we'll use dots. Let's use some more of that silver now because that's really pretty. It shows up so nicely. So I'm going to do some dashes. I'm going to follow it right up through here. And I'm not going to go there because I already have silver there. But I will bring it over here. What else? I think I need a little bit more black. So I'm going to grab a micron pen with a broader nib. I think maybe a size 10 should work. And I'm going to create some other patterns. I'm going to skip it over there, but I'm going to bring it down here. There's a lot going on. You know what? I think I need to bring it over. So like I said, there's no right or wrong thing to do here. Anything you want will work. I'm going to bring some black up here, but for this I'm going to use a finer tip. So I think I'm going to grab a 03 and, or maybe, no, I think that'll work. And I'm just going to do some sketchy little lines here and fill in this area with some lines. And I'm using a really light touch. And you can see it's skipping on the paper. I don't want a solid line. And I like that a lot. I'm going to have to do that somewhere else now because I really like it. I think I'll try it over here. I like that. Now let's use a little bit of white. Let's do something similar to that in white. And I'm not going to go all the way through. I'm just going to create some lines, and I'm going to make these really close together, and I'm going to make them different lengths. You can even create some sort of pattern with the lines like that, and maybe a little white, a little more white in here. I don't want to make it too busy, but I'm feeling like I need a little white somewhere else. Maybe a few little lines over here. And I think I'm going to leave this alone. I think that is really pretty. It's very simple. It's a lot of fun to do, and you can get as carried away as you like. And I think this is a fun exercise, especially when you have no idea what to paint. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that you give it a try. Be sure to check out our Facebook group, Vivo Vintage Design Tutorials, where you can post your versions of the paintings and techniques learned on this channel. And I would love for you to share your paintings with me. So I hope that you consider joining our group. Check the description box for links to the products used. Please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. Your interaction with my channel is so helpful, and I really do appreciate it. It's a wonderful way to show your support. All right, everyone. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.